Yo, what's up guys? Fred from Eastgate Unity here, back at you with another video. Today we are checking out the Acedeck Nomad N1. Now as you can see, it is very securely packaged and very well put together. Now this board is 38.8 pounds with the wheels attached to it. Since the board is so big, the wheels aren't attached to it, but they are sitting in the box underneath the board. So let's put the board to the side and let's check out the accessories. Here you got two different size Allen keys, which allow you to adjust and fix a bunch of things on the board. Here are some very long quotable stickers, which I really like because I always like motivational quotes, and they're just not these tiny dinky stickers like other companies come with. Next we got Acedeck's owner's manual. Now this isn't your regular owner's manual that's kind of boring and cheap. This is more of a premium style owner's manual that has some flair to it. Next we got Acedeck's remote, which has a lot of features and we'll get into that later. Then I also got multiple charging cables for different countries. I don't know if everybody gets these or not, but I got all three. Next we got a 4 amp charger, which isn't the biggest, but it's definitely not the smallest. Next we got a bag of spare bolts and screws, which sometimes you wind up needing. Then you got the remote charger, which is a type C. And then of course you got your basic T-tool. Here we got brand new Hoda tires that teamed up with Acedeck. They have reinforcement walls that withstand high pressure and prevent punctures. The tire maintains stability and reduces energy consumption by changing the shape according to the pressure applied, making it a very durable 7-inch tire option. Now the rear wheels already have the attachment ready for the actual gear drive, so it's easy to pop it on. Now here's what the other side looks like on the front tire, so in case you need to change your tires, you got to loosen up these bolts. Now let's have a closer look at the board. Let's first start off with the gear drive. The gear drive system is a 4.3 ratio and it has over 20% more power than its first gear drive system on the original NYX Z1 mounted board. Also, Acedeck is the first production brand to incorporate a gear drive on mass-produced production boards. The board comes standard with a free bash guard to protect these massive 6.3/7.4 motors. I also never heard of anybody overheating their Acedeck motors. Acedeck also has one of the best trucks in my personal opinion, the Precision CNC traditional kingpin trucks on a 45-degree angle. They're also utilizing 4 total high cup washers to surround all the bushings more securely for maximum stability. They're also utilizing 10mm axles, which are way more sturdier so they don't snap. Lastly, in my opinion, they look absolutely beautiful. The deck is made up of bamboo, fiberglass, and maple wood, and the max load of the board is 330 pounds. Now Nomad decided to drop the split angle design on their decks, and I've never seen it before on an electric longboard. It's inspired by a downhill longboard decks and incorporates an inverted nose and tail angles to create a special stance that provides a lot of stability and confidence at high speeds. It also keeps it very maneuverable and agile around corners. The deck also has a very aggressive W concave. Acedeck is using their 3.0 90 amp ESC, and the battery is a massive 14S 4P Samsung 40T cells, 16 amp hour, 828 watt hours. Acedeck also decided to put lights on their enclosure. So you have front lights that are directly behind the trucks. So when you brake, that will actually blink fast to show other riders that you are braking. Each side of the enclosure, you have 2 LED strips. They also work as blinking lights with braking, and you can turn on and off this feature with the remote. Okay, so as usual, let's first start off with the deck. Now the deck is super stiff. Even though it's a bamboo maple deck, it does not have any flex whatsoever. As for this split angle design of the front going up and the rear going down, I wasn't too sure about it because I'm not a downhill rider, I'm more of a freestyle rider. But it really planted in my feet perfect, especially when I wanted to plant that back foot when I wanted more stability at higher speeds. Okay, so let's talk about these wheels. First off, I actually want to specifically talk about the rim/hub itself. When it comes to these 2-in-1 production boards, we don't have a lot of nice options when it comes to the rims. So these rims look even nicer on a lower profile tire, like a 6-inch tire, but with the bearing seating position, I'm not sure if it fits most 2-in-1 boards. I could be wrong though. My point is, I wish most production boards will start making really nice premium rims like Lycaon does, and this other company called Landsurf that sells them for boutique boards like the Lycaon and the Calis. They just simply don't fit these production boards. So if these 2-in-1 companies will start making premium wheels like this, they would definitely have an edge. Now, meepo used to make a style rim that looks just like this, but they stopped making it. Then they replaced it with this rim, which I don't think is as nice. And then ONBOARD came out with their Zeus Pro, and they dropped this oil slick kind of vibe. And I think this is a really nice rim. But my point is, I just wish these companies will start selling more and more nicer rims for production 2-in-1 boards. Now, as for these new vacuum tires, I didn't think I would like them. They're a little bit bigger than a 7-inch, but they did everything perfect. Now check it out. Okay, so now let's talk about these CNC precisioned traditional kingpin trucks from Acedeck. Acedeck decided to use 100A orange bushings along with 96A black bushings. I simply just replaced them with riptides. I do it on all my traditional kingpin trucks. It still rode perfectly fine with the stock bushings, but riptides really wake up the board. With this type of setup, you can really carve above 25 miles per hour and have a blast. Check it out. Okay, S mode, not S plus, S mode. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, S plus mode. I'm gonna try to launch it. It's not gonna be great, but I'm gonna try. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. One, two, three, go. A little bit. All right, 1, 2, 3, go. One, two, three, go. Now please do not get it twisted. The Zeus Pro is a fast board and it's powerful, but this just goes to show you how much of a difference this 14S has to a 13S along with its higher powered ESC. Some footage of the lights in action while I'm riding. They're not the brightest in the world, but they sure as hell look very cool. They're definitely nice to have because it's cool being seen like this and it's a good safety feature. Check it out. As for range, I'm a 155 pound rider and the temperature was about 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Now some of the ride I rode in eco mode, most of the ride I rode in S mode, and very little I rode in S plus mode. I definitely went over a bunch of hills, I definitely carve a lot, which does kill a little bit of range, and I did some off-roading. I got 32.6 miles of range total with the 14S 4P setup. Now this new charging cover is way better from their version 1. It's actually easy to open up and it's easy to close. The version 1 was a little bit of a pain in the butt to close up. Now the charging cable gives you a little red dot in order to line it up inside the charger port itself, and it clicks in nice. And then it has a spring mechanism on the charger port in order to yank it out, so it sits in securely. So next, let's talk about the remote. The remote basically has every piece of data you need to ride. You have the battery on the top left of the remote. On the top right is the battery of the board. You have your miles per hour or kilometers. You can change that. You have your braking level, you have your trip, and you have your total mileage. It also displays 2-wheel drive because some of their boards do have the 4-wheel drive version. And then of course you have L for low mode. Then you have E for eco. Then you have S, which is sport mode. Then you have S Plus, which is Sport Plus. Then you click the bottom button 8 times. That'll bring you to a back hidden menu that you can customize the board to your liking. Not a lot of production 2-in-1 companies have this. I know the Tiny has this, the Evolve has this, the Backfire has this, and the new onsra boards have this. The point is, the more options you have to customize to your riding style, the better. Being able to dial it in the way you want to is a very big selling point because all of us have different riding styles, different skill sets, and different preferences. Now this brings me to my next topic, constructive criticism. Okay, I'm gonna try to explain this the best I can and show it the best I can on camera. The throttle response is very late. Now that mixed between it being very powerful and very responsive is not that good, because if you put your thumb on the throttle, you start going, still not moving, yet it's still going, and now it's finally going. And the board is very powerful. So you mix that late response throttleness with its power, it's unpredictable. So you just have to be careful when you're throttling this thing because it has a little bit of a late delay and it's very responsive and very powerful. So it's just something worth mentioning. Now going downhill or simply free rolling also is a little tricky when it comes to the throttle, because I'm just free rolling right now and I'm just about to end the downhill part, but I need to start throttling again. So I'm already doing 10-15 miles per hour, but I gotta start pushing this throttle, and I just finally found it. So it's tricky finding where I need to push the throttle to match my speed because there's a delay at first. Now, I understand why Acedeck did this to have large deadband. It's because they don't want anybody getting hurt because the board's so powerful. And that does make sense. You have to have room for error because if you just tap it, you're gonna launch yourself off. That makes sense. But I just think the amount of deadband that's in there is just too much, especially knowing you can go in the back menu and dial down the power. Next constructive criticism is the deck's W concave. In my personal opinion, it just has way too much W concave. Look at that gap. I've had plenty of boards that had W concaves, but none of them were this aggressive. Now, if you have a wider stance, then I don't think this will be a problem for you, but I have a more of a narrow stance, and when my feet are more in the middle of the deck, it really does hurt. Now, another thing I don't understand is most of the shoes we wear are flat, so I don't really understand the need of the middle W part sticking up against your arch so much. And I actually have an athletic foot. I have a very aggressive arch in my foot. But again, most of the shoes that we wear are flat anyway. So this much of a W concave I don't think is needed. So I understand why the board is heavy. It's a performance long range board. I get that. But actually carrying this in your hands doesn't feel good at all. In fact, it hurts your hands a little bit because the edges of the bamboo deck hurts your hands a little bit because not only is it heavy, but the edges of the bamboo is not smoothed over. But with the stock setup, dragging it by the front trucks, you won't damage the rear motors. You also have the rear bash guards, and if you drag it from the rear bash guards, you won't damage anything as well, and it'll be a lot easier. Final thoughts. So first off, I wanted to mention the craftsmanship and the amount of time Acedeck has been out. Acedeck has only been around for a little over a year, and they've developed a fantastic relationship with the e-skate community. Having such a good reputation that was developed so quickly in about a year, and the amount of boards that they actually released with the prices that they have, with the quality they have, in the small period of time they've been around, and with all the competition that they have with other companies, is kind of crazy. This is already a niche sport as it is. The average person has no idea what electric skateboarding is, let alone making a business out of it. And now they have set the trend of a crazy low price tag with such a high quality big battery system along with such incredible amount of performance. Honestly, it's going to be tough to review something after this and say it's not going to be a better value, because I don't know how you're going to beat this value. Only $1,529, you'll get this monster house of a board. You can even go with the cheaper route and go with the belt drive, or go with a smaller battery gear drive system. And that cheaper gear drive system will have the same performance as this, just a little less range. Sorry I didn't get to do a top speed test. My knee isn't quite there yet, hasn't healed fully. I haven't done any dancing or sliding yet either. Thank you for watching, guys. Please comment, like, share, subscribe. Have a good one, guys.